Welcome to Behind the Citgo, where we pull back the curtain on the unseen truth of addiction recovery and talk about things most people never get a chance to see. I'm your host, Josh Torbich. Each week, we're sitting down with people who lived it, led it, and are still learning from it today. This isn't polished, it's real, it's raw, and it's noted in the faith and hope because we do recover. So whether you're in recovery, walking alongside someone who is, or just trying to understand what healing really looks like, you came to the right place. Let's dig in. Hey everybody, welcome to Behind the Citgo podcast. I'm here with a very, very dear friend, Pastor Lucas Grainger. You know, I was just joking Pastor Lucas Grainger about Pastor Lucas, the largest auditorium-style building in Brunswick County. That's you now. Yeah.
Well, it is Brunswick County, though, right? Shallotte, not Charlotte.
Why you just I tried to give you a pretty stellar compliment. You just poked a pin
let's just bring it back
Bro,
to reality.
Brunswick County's a big deal.
You know, Brunswick, we're on the map.
We're steadily climbing as a bigger deal.
You know, there's Wilmington and there's Myrtle Beach. And there's a place that you stop to get gas.
I always say that too.
And, yeah.
That's so funny. When I reference where they say I'm in Shallotte, and I say no. All right. Do you know where Myrtle Beach is?
Yeah.
Do you know where Wilmington is? We're right in the middle.
Right in the middle.
Yeah.
Right in the middle.
But they're coming.
It's the promised land. It's the promised land.
The people, they're coming here.
Yeah.
They want to live here.
We'd like to welcome everybody from Jersey and New York. Y'all are welcome here. You might not feel welcome at first. But you are welcome here.
So what you're saying is we don't mind the Yankees coming on.
You know, the tide's already turned.
The water's fine. Yeah, the water's fine. Come on down. It's simple living.
Yes.
Simple.
Yeah. Ohio too.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, so you do get the privilege to pastor a church. You know, you guys are one of the larger churches inside of our community. You know, we're really grateful as far as the recovery center goes, because even before you've moved here to Shallotte, when you were at Stone Chimney and Supply, you've supported us. For over a decade, you guys have really been a part of that. And I know that your heart has been with our work there. I remember the first day I met someone from your church, Pastor Allen. He came out to the Ash campus in between the cornfields, and he said, hey, man, we got this Serve Day thing going on. He was like, we picked your group as an organization we want to support. Tell me what we can do, and you guys ended up hanging up ceiling fans.
Hanging up some ceiling fans.
You remember that?
I do remember that.
That was 10 years ago.
Man, now I feel super old.
Yeah, you're a little old.
But yeah, we've just noticed and watched the work that you guys have done year after year, faithfully year after year, and we do think it's an honor to be able to partner with you guys and the work that's going on here in Brunswick County.
Yeah, and we appreciate y'all so much. A lot of the folks involved in your congregation partner with us in other areas. They volunteer with us. They help us. They're our chapel speakers. They're our pastoral counselors. And a lot of the leaders, and this comment's really a compliment to you and your leadership in the church, they come out, they're completely engaged with helping our residents go through the discipleship process. They're perfect mentors for our folks. That's a gift.
Yeah. And we try to push that. I make a statement to the church. You know, our area for the longest time was kind of the retirement area. It's where everyone wanted to come. But there's really no retirement in the kingdom of God. And so I kind of make the statement, and some people think it's kind of extreme. I'm like, hey, if you're over 55 years old and you're wondering what your calling is to pour into someone younger.
That's good.
And so, and I really believe that. You know, hey, to give your life, you've got some wisdom, you've got some experience, and let's give it away.
There's no retirement. Hey, we'll write that down.
Yeah.
There's no retirement in the kingdom of God.
Yeah. I don't see it in the scriptures.
That's it.
I don't 55, done, 65, hang it up.
Let me just chill out. Yeah, I've done all of this great work for the Lord in my life. Yeah, it's really time to take a pause.
If you've got breath in your lungs, there's purpose.
That's really good.
And it's not playing golf.
Yeah.
You get to play some golf. Golf is fun, but there's more to life than that. So, yeah.
So today's chat, you know, I called you up and we wanted to have this conversation. We thought that you would be perfect to have. But today is all about recovery in our communities and what you as a local pastor would see as the church's responsibility on engagement with that. And one of the first things that I thought about in this conversation was, do you see any biblical perspective guiding you as the leader of a large local body of the Christian faith on how you should be engaged with work kind of like ours?
Yeah, when you text me that initial question, it just got me thinking. And at first, I didn't really know how to answer the question until I realized the reality when it comes to recovery is we're all in recovery. And so sometimes we like to segment it into certain types of recovery, but the realization is we're all in recovery. We're all going through something, and it made me think about Hebrews chapter 12, where it says, "Therefore, since we're surrounded by such a huge crowd of witnesses," because he's just given this list of like all of these amazing people of the faith, right? And if we're not careful, sometimes we read the scriptures and we look at the Bible as like these were like superheroes, but they're not. There's only one hero in the Bible, and that's Jesus. Every other story is a story of redemption. You know, David is a story of redemption. Solomon's a story of redemption, of God taking Peter and taking broken things and doing something new with them. And so if we're not careful, we'll read through that lens. And so there's this thing, hey, there's these great people, but they've all part of a recovery redemption process. And that says, and since this is the case, let us strip off every weight that slows us down, especially the sin that easily trips us up. So there's a weight that slows us down, and there's a sin that trips us up. And that's different for everybody. So somebody's weight might be crack. Another person's weight might be pornography. Another person's weight, so there's these weights, there's these sins that we're all gonna have to deal with and wrestle with. So we're in recovery on some level. And so I think the answer to it is the very next line. This is what we do to run this race with endurance by keeping our eyes on Jesus. By keeping our eyes on Jesus. He's the author and the finisher of our faith. And so I think the church's main responsibility is just that, to keep people's eyes on Jesus, to do everything we can to be a road sign, to point people that, yes, there's things going on in your life, there's disappointments, there's heartaches, there's weights and there's sins, but the author and the finisher of your faith is Jesus Christ. And so we want to do things that point people in that direction. And the church plays a really great role in doing things that nobody else can do in the call to worship. The call to worship is a call to surrender. It's a recognition of I'm not in control.
That's good.
I think about Philippians, where he who began a good work in you will see it through to the day of Christ Jesus. And so there's the reality that there's a process that we're involved with, but it's his work. He's the one that understands these weights, these sins. And so we come alongside in his kingdom work and point people to Jesus.
See, it's amazing. See, when you said that, I put those two together, and it just dawned on me, because his yoke is easy, his burden is light.
Yeah.
And he's calling us through Paul here to strip off the weight and the sin.
Yeah.
That two different things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's like these things that you find yourself constantly in, and these are like disputable arguments I think we get into all the time about what's sin and what's not sin. You know, one of my favorite ones that come at me in the recovery center?
What is it?
Oh, it's smoking. They love the nicotine in the recovery center. They do, man. And they try to get me, They try to get me on like this huge... Like,
I need my marbles.
Like,
come on.
They're like, the Camel Crushes. It's driving me. I'll quit heroin, but don't make me stop chewing. That type of thing.
Yeah.
They try to pin me down, bro. They try to say, like, because they think that I'm going to have like this large theological position on like, the Bible says, and here's where it's sin and this, and this. And I said, well, Paul calls us to not just strip off sin, but the weight. The weight.
Yeah.
And we know sin carries its own weight, but there's also this thing categorized as objectionable behaviors.
Yeah.
Things that maybe you don't have to pin down watching 3 hours TV of day. God never said thou shalt.
It's not a sin to watch 17 hours of Netflix.
There you go.
But it ain't beneficial.
Yeah, but it's not useful to all the things in your body.
I got some friends, pastors Pastor Heath Cadell, man, I love this guy.
He's coming to visit with us.
He's coming to visit. He's going to be on. He will try and talk you into doing stuff like, hey, let's go for a jog, which is like, first of all, I ain't trying to jog nowhere. Second of all, then he wants to put a 30-pound rucksack on my back.
Yeah.
I'm like, why? That's what the Bible says not to do, to carry around weight.
Strip off the weight.
Strip off of that weight.
Because I'm a fan of Hebrews,
I can't do that. I can't partake in that thing. But it's that kind of concept. It's not a sin, right? And we're joking, the training and stuff. But we can do that in our own lives.
Yeah.
Like we can walk around with a weight that, sure, it might be permissible, but it ain't beneficial.
It's not beneficial.
Yeah. And
helping
we have
people-
them. And that's what that scripture's saying here
Yep.
too. It's just like, don't think even because you're the pastor or whatever, like there's still a weight that could easily
Yeah.
snare you and get you down.
And leading from the call of worship to the sermon outline
Yeah.
to the closing altar call to help people see the weight. Sometimes the sin is the easy thing,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
to let them see the weight, that the behaviors they've
Yeah.
attached themselves to,
Yeah.
that there's no thou shalt not against,
Yeah.
that the church has to help isolate and find recovery for.
Yeah.
And that, see, I didn't know that we would so quickly find ourselves already kind of modeling the similar ministerial approach to
Yeah, yeah.
people's lives, but we do.
Yeah.
Because that's the transformative work that we're involved in every day.
Yes.
They stop, for all intents and purposes, they become 90% less sinful just from checking into our programs.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
not breaking the law anymore. They're not driving with no license anymore. They're
Yeah.
not doing drugs. They're not doing all of these things anymore.
Yeah.
But there's still the discipleship process of the transformative work
Yeah.
to teach them how to live in a higher caliber way.
Yeah.
That work never stops.
Yeah.
So the churches, your ministry sees the work to the recovery community as the work unto the individuals of your congregation.
Correct. Yeah. Because we're not after sin management. Like, our job isn't to try to, like, you didn't cuss out your spouse today, now you're a good person.
Strong work.
No, like, it's inner transformation. Like, your heart would be changed.
That's
That I don't want to want the things I used to want.
Wow.
So it's no longer that, hey, I'm free from this addiction. I'm free from the want of that addiction.
Wow.
Like, I don't even want to partake in that type of thing because I know the weight and the sin of some of those things and the effect that it has on my life and the lives of the people around me. And so that's the change, because we can modify behavior. We could stop at certain things, but that when done strictly in the flesh is going to give, maybe at its best, just temporary results, because the heart still wants what the heart wants.
Yeah.
And that takes the transforming power of Jesus Christ.
Joke we make all the time. You can chain them to the furnace all you want to, but they'll still leave, returning right back to
Yeah.
it. Yep.
Yeah.
You can't lock them into it.
Yeah.
I just got to see a cool Facebook post that was shared with me from one of our graduates. So we have our graduates are everywhere, spread out in your congregation.
Yeah, I love it.
And
We love it.
Bro, I love seeing them there, but I got a picture. It just made me feel so filled with joy. So two of our friends from the recovery program, actually, they graduated, one from the men's program, one from the women's program. They got married, okay?
Okay.
They're completely enthralled with one another. They have a beautiful family. They just added a new addition
Okay.
to the family. They got a new little baby, and they were up on stage dedicating their little baby.
Oh, come on.
Yep, up
Yes.
at your church. I seen you in the
Yes.
picture. You were up there going, leading
Yes.
it. I don't know, maybe you had 10 or 15 families,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you were doing the baby
New
dedication
baby.
Sunday.
Yes. Life change.
Yep,
Life
I
change.
saw them. And I'm always so encouraged when I see them actively participating in your church,
Yeah.
your congregation. It's an interesting concept, because not only do you refer people with those types of issues whenever they come into your place, you say, hey, I know these guys down the street, they can
Yeah.
help you, but we send them back to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
After we finish.
Yeah.
And there's barriers that are involved with it. And I guess when you step into that part of it, do you see the barriers for people who can get well from these type of issues that we're describing, with the weight of the sin and then the weight of the things that are more objectionable inside of their life, biblical or more practical? Like, what keeps them from advancing quickly inside of a format that would kind of strip off what Paul tells us to do?
That's a good question. I don't know. This is just off the top of my head, but I don't know if their struggle is any different from the average American struggle in that sense, because what I found was, actually, let me back up. There was an interview done a long time ago with Dallas Willard. If you don't know who Dallas Willard is, kind of just famous philosopher, theologian, wrote a bunch of books, and one of his disciples, John Ortberg, I believe, was the one that basically asked him the question, hey, I'm becoming a pastor now, and I'm wanting to change some things in my life. I'm trying to get things for the better. What do I need to do? And he said Dallas Willard would take this long pause, and he would think to himself, and he said this. He said, you need to ruthlessly eliminate hurry from your life. And since that, it's actually become a book, and there's a book written by John Mark Comer called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. And so he gets this advice, and then he says, okay, well, what's next? As in kind of like, let's go. Like, there's got to be more to this thing. And he's like, no, that's it. You've got to ruthlessly eliminate hurry. Wow. And what he was saying is like, there's a priorities that's got to take place in your life. And we live in such a culture that you could get pulled in a million different directions. And especially, I would say, I don't want to say especially. All of us are so apt to this American culture of go, go, go. Identify your identity by what you do, not who you are. And so I've got to do all these things to prove. And when it comes to discipleship, it's a long obedience in the same direction. It's a slowing down, and it's a prioritizing, and it's ruthlessly eliminating weights.
Wow.
It's ruthlessly eliminating sin. So it's, hey, I understand these are the 3-4 priorities in my life right now, and I'm going to ruthlessly eliminate things. Like even that you just said a minute ago. Yeah, nicotine, it's not about the nicotine, but we're going to ruthlessly eliminate some of these things to create a pathway that is smooth that we could walk on in a healthy manner because we're trying to advance the kingdom of God ultimately, but then also our own life. You know, we're trying to get our life on track. And so I see a big hiccup with oftentimes those that'll come out of recovery or even just out of a bad marriage or whatever it may be, and they don't want to take that ruthless kind of like, we're going to attack this thing and kind of treat it like, hey, I'm going to the gym and, you know, I want to lose some weight, but you worked out for 5 minutes. Like, it's going to take more than that. Yeah. You've got to ruthlessly attack some cheeseburgers, right? You got to stop going to McDonald's all the time. And so it's kind of the same thing with our discipleship. I think there's a certain aspect in which we've got to really, really dig into it.
Yeah, see, I see that, you know, and as a part, like when you're talking about the barriers of people who would take the next step into truly transforming their lives, which is what we talk about in discipleship programs like ours. And the reason that they're different, just like a pause there, ours truly fit into the lane of discipleship because while they get there, drugs and alcohol might be the biggest problem perceived in their life. They quickly come to find out that it's Hebrews. You know, all like, no, we truly need to transform the person that you are. Drugs and alcohol will no longer be an issue as a byproduct to that. And then they want it to, okay, hey, I've been here for 12 minutes. Let's get moving on. You know, to the next thing. But no, it's like the old joke, like if you run 10 miles into the woods, you got to run 10 miles back out. But this time direction matters. So it's even more like, so I would say, you have to go slow because it's tactical. You know, your choices matter more. And, you know, when I coach people who I usually actively mentor 3 or 4 people at a time, just capacity-wise, that's kind of what you got time for. But I find myself all the time saying, you know, to folks, hey, when you're moving in a direction and you're trying to make wise choices, every choice matters. Some choices matter more than others. But every day when you're constructively reviewing that day, you can see that your choices either very clearly led you to a place where you're moving closer to what you want to be or further away from it. So what is like 10 steps forward, 9 steps back? The goal for the end of the day is making sure the number forward is more than the number back. And that's truly what I see. How overwhelming is it?
And that's every day. It's a long obedience in the same direction.
Long obedience in the same direction.
The righteous man falls down 7 times, but what? He keeps on getting back up. So it's doing that over and over and over again.
And people don't, not many people have the ability to quickly nestle into the pause until things have gotten desperate. Do you see that?
Oh, 100%. 100%. Oftentimes people will come to me and they don't want counseling, they want a miracle.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you should have came to me 6 months ago.
Yeah.
You had this problem in your marriage 6 months ago. You
Yeah.
had this problem 4 years ago. You're getting ready to go to jail next week. Like, you don't want
It's desperate. It's getting bad.
You want a miracle. Like,
want a miracle.
like, bro,
Yeah.
and we can pray. But honestly, like,
he does give those miracles.
It
sometimes
does happen.
We'll ask.
But this was a process that you've made a series of bad choices day in and day out to get you to this place. And which brings to the reality of you've got to own it. I can't want your healing more than you do. Mm-hmm. I can't want your recovery. I can't want your sobriety. Like, you've got to own it, because there's going to come a time where it's just you in the room, and you've got to be able to fight that monster more than us together, if that makes sense.
It does. Spiritual sickness is the only thing that requires the full compliance of the individual in order for the remedy or the treatment for it to work.
Yeah.
Right? And that's great. Like what we're talking about today, these
surrender,
the faith-filled biblical principles that help us fight the flesh and aspire to be something better, more collaborative with our community, more useful to the kingdom. Those are the places that God pointed us to be. And it's hard work on the front end, but you find fulfillment and peace and joy on the back end. And those and they come in that order usually.
Because remember, we're all in recovery.
Yeah.
So the struggles that I used to struggle with, I don't struggle with as much now.
Yeah.
Because it's a long obedience in the same direction. And I think that's true of everybody. Now, there'll be certain things that'll be harder than others. But the more you do it, the more you create that discipline of surrender and focus on, God, I need your help with this just as much today as I did 20 years ago. Yeah. It does get easier, so to speak. And it's the easiness isn't just the not doing it. The easiness is the trust and surrender of he who started this work is going to see it through.
He'll finish it.
So I just kind of have faith for that, because I've had faith for it before, and now I could have faith for it again. And yeah, it's beautiful.
They talk about you mentioned it early on as one of the things that we're commonly seeing as issues in the church. This is something I personally struggled with, but sexual addiction, pornography.
Yeah.
I know when I got sober in 2013, I wrestled with that for a couple years, even after I was sober. And it's such a difficult thing to minister, especially to, we predominantly happens with males. The majority, we even have a class that we teach now inside of the programs specifically for the males who are going through it, sexual morality. And that's such a hard thing to actually encourage for people to step away from. And I they make the joke sometimes. Some people will say who used to do heroin, man, it was harder to quit tobacco than it was to quit heroin. And I kind of feel it a little bit because there's nothing like that really would hurt my conscience as much of when I used to dip or chew tobacco. I used to be a grizzly wintergreen long cut, man. I used to have this big old dip in my cheek all the time. And I truly felt convicted about it because I was going into churches to minister, and I was like, man, I'm out here spitting my chew out before I step in to minister to this church. And I knew that I had to do something about it because I didn't want people to see me doing it anymore. Some people might not carry that with them, but I knew it was a problem for me because I didn't want other people to see me doing it.
And that's kind of the key. Like, do I have to hide this thing?
Do I have to hide
so
that
if
thing?
I have to hide this thing, that's a red flag.
You could put it as a checkbox at the top of the questionnaire. Do I care if anyone sees me doing it?
Correct.
And
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because it's a
question.
good question to know. Of like, can I stand before God with this, or even can I tell my wife about this? Can I tell my kids about this?
Can I tell my kids about it? Those are all good.
Like let's bring it home.
Those are good questions we write down in mentorship. Well, let's run through the questions.
And you realize real quick, like, there's just certain things that, though they're permissible, it's okay. Like, but that just ain't for me. It's just not for me.
It's not
like,
something I'm proud of.
Yeah.
So the sexual sin thing, why is that such a hard thing for us to wrestle with?
Oh man, 3 big things: lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, pride of life. Money, sex, power. You start talking about those 3, and it affects every single person on the planet. And so we all want our sexual desires. We all want to do what we want to do with our money. We all want to take our power and use it for our own benefit and our selfish reasonings. And the gospel just flips all of that upside down and says, like, no, sex is this beautiful thing, but it ain't about you. Money, we even talk about in the church, we talk about the tithe. Like, there's this realization of, like, you do realize it's not about 10%. 100% of your every penny it's God's. Like, we're only stewarding this thing.
Well, you
like,
come in feeling like Cain, like this, like man, look at me do like whatever, man.
But it's having a concept in your mind that my house is not my house.
That's right.
My car is not my car. My bank account is not my bank account. I'm simply a steward of that for a period of time. Same thing with my kids. Like, I love my kids more than anything else. Nothing I wouldn't do them. But there's an overwhelming reality that they're God's.
That's hard.
And I'm just stewarding them for a season.
Isn't that hard?
And there'll come a day where, like, hopefully such a way that help them make wise choices. But they're God's. And he, as much as I love them, he loves them more.
And we love our kids. There's nothing that'll make you weaker than having kids. I used to be so tough. Bro, I used to, now I'll be sitting on the couch with Casey and we'll watch, like, not even a sappy moment in a movie. Just something where, like, the dad looks at the kid and tells him he's proud. And then the kid really likes it, and then they quickly move on, and I'm over there with the lump in my throat.
You're holding it back.
They just make you weak, bro. The kids.
I just did a wedding, and the wedding for this beautiful couple, I remember when the girl was like 5 years old. And now she's 25
old
and getting married. And I'm standing there and I'm doing this wedding. And as we're doing the wedding, I'm realizing really quickly, there's no way I will ever do my daughter's wedding because I will lose it. I can't. So somebody else.
The wedding would last hours.
It would last hours. Are you sure you want to get married? No.
This doesn't seem right.
Are you sure? You can stay at home.
Like,
you can stay at home.
This guy, we'll take care. There's better fish out there for you. I know. See, it make you weak, man.
And that reality is how God sees all of his children. Right? And it's seeing the guy behind the Citgo. As not just there's another drug addict. It's seeing the guy behind the Citgo. There's a son, a daughter that Jesus' heart breaks for and loves, and to be able to see people in that capacity. Because remember, we're all in recovery, and so there's kind of four big things that we'll teach people when it comes to seeing people. Number one, the art of listening, learning how just to listen. You see somebody behind the Citgo doing drugs, and all of a sudden, you've told yourself a story in your mind that this whole person's whole story.
There you go.
Oh, you don't know that person's story. You have no clue what got them there. But you think you do. And so, take the time to listen, to truly listen. What got you to this point? Why are you here? What are you covering up? Was there abuse in the home? Who knows? Did you just get back from Afghanistan and you saw some stuff and your mind's messed up? There's no telling what could be happening. Listening to the person. And then two, the art of asking good questions. This isn't my quote. Somebody said it like this: curiosity is the on-ramp to sympathy. Wow. So the more curious I am, the more questions, the more it's the breeding ground for sympathy, in the sense of, like, oh, now I see what got you to this place. Now I see why you've made some of these decisions, and it's no longer me, just my made-up story. And then number three, the art of seeing deeper. I got to see beyond just this moment. God, give me eyes to see, give me ears to hear. What are you saying about this person's life? Do you see a pastor? Do you see a worship leader? Do you see a business owner? Do you see, tell me what you see in this child. And then number four, the art of calling out, right? Deep calls into deep, to just be able to encourage people in such a way to pull out, like, no, there's more in you than even what you see in you. And I think that we've seen that really take place because it's something everybody can do. You could listen. You could ask good questions. You could ask God to give you those eyes to see. You could see deeper. You could pull out. You could encourage somebody. And it just might change someone's life. I remember years ago, this particular gentleman came to the church and just, this is years. So it's year after year. Pray for my son. Pray for my son. He's hooked on drugs. And once this goes on for so much time, sometimes there's kind of like a little hardness of the heart that you don't want to admit, but it's there because, man, we've been praying for this and we haven't seen anything. And, man, he's even more hooked on drugs than we've ever seen before. And I remember him just asking again, just prayer for his son, and we would pray. And one day he came up and my mom was there. And my mom is a prayer warrior. And she stopped him and she said, listen, I do want to pray for your son, but this is what I want you to do. I want you to go home. I want you to give me a picture of whenever he was 5 years old. Bring it back to me, and then we're going to pray. And I was like, Mom, why did you do that? Why did you do that? And she's like, because I need to see him when he was innocent. I need to see him before, how everybody else is seeing him now. And I need to pray for him like he's my son and the innocence. And what was she doing? She was looking deeper, and she was calling out. And, man, it just changed the way that we prayed for this young man. It changed everything. And it was just a moment for me, too, that I had with my mom that really caused me to, it softened my heart. It changed my prayer life. It changed the way I looked at people. And it's powerful. It's a powerful thing to do, to be able to listen, to be able to ask some good questions, call out, encourage, see things beyond what they are right in that moment, beyond the back of the Citgo to
That's incredible, man. That's such a meaningful story. Yeah. That just reshaping, like what you're really saying is, like, as a society and maybe the coaching for your church and the congregational aspect, see people for their potential.
Yeah.
And that truly is, like, when God looks at me, he doesn't see the defects of character as much as he sees what he hopes for me to be.
Yeah.
You know, you wrestle with the defects of character, and that's what we all see every day.
Yeah.
Like, I'll tell you, man,
that's what we like to highlight,
that's
right?
What
we like to highlight that.
Behaviors, dumb choice, stupid choice, can't believe you did that, can't believe you did. But to continue to work with somebody in a manner where you're more interested in their potential.
Yes. And that's Jesus, right? That's Jesus. Man. Peter has just had the biggest mess up of his life.
Yeah.
He's full on denied Christ.
Yeah.
I've never known him. He's walked with Jesus for 3 years.
Yeah.
Wherever you go, though everybody deny you, I won't deny you.
Do it. Yeah.
Like, yeah, right.
It's the worst when you fail after drawing the hard line.
Draw the hard line.
Never.
I'm way better than this guy, right? Like,
see all these people, they don't even love you as much as I do.
They got nothing on me.
That's the worst. Yeah.
And he denies him to a little girl.
Yeah.
Like, it's a little girl at a fire pit. Yeah. No, I've never seen him. Like, we're not as strong as we think we are.
No, we're not.
Right?
Yeah.
But what does Jesus do? He comes up to Peter. Feed my sheep.
Yep.
I ain't done with you. There's more for you to do, Peter. Don't wallow in this. Come on, get back up. Yeah, 9 steps forward, 8 steps. You know, we're still making progress forward. You're actually getting ready to preach a sermon, and 5,000 people are going to get saved. I'm not done with you. So let's not highlight this right here, but let's put it in its proper context. I'm not done with you. Feed my sheep.
Yes, and he reconciles them to him.
Yeah.
He comes and finds them.
Because of his great love and because of his blood.
The most incredible part about that, and this is where I feel Coastal Church has really honed in and has a gift for our community. When you were opening up over there, I made this statement to you. I said, you're about to be able to have the capacity to touch more families and lives than any other group inside of the Shallotte area. And that's true. You know, y'all, maybe a couple thousand people you guys have in service every Sunday or so. Because I know you run 2 services and stuff, and you guys are busy, you're booming. You have other ministries. There's probably people in your small groups who might not even attend Sunday, but
we do.
Come to access.
We have lots of them.
Yeah, and then you have even the cafe ministries where you'll get random visitors trickling into the church just to sit down and use the Wi-Fi and buy a cup of coffee. But one of the things that I think Christ exemplifies is coming to minister to people exactly where they are. And that's tough.
Yeah.
It's hard, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's hard to say you're here and I see you there and
Yeah.
you got all of these ugly things about you
Yeah.
that the Bible doesn't agree with, that God wouldn't agree with, that
Yeah.
the church, but we're still going to minister to you just like the guy who's been
Yeah.
upright for 50 years.
Yes.
That's hard.
Yeah.
You know, and that's similar to what you're describing with the story with your mom.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, this was years ago. Before becoming a pastor, I was a missionary and loved being a missionary. I felt like I was, quote unquote, successful at being a missionary because, man, God had opened up doors. I love hanging out with Muslims and Hindus, and I love being the only Christian in the room. We could be in a room with 1,000 people. I'm the only Christian, and I would be 100% comfortable having Jesus conversations and just really love. But God said, hey, plant this church. And I thought for sure, hey, we'd plant the church. A couple years would go by, and then God would send the real pastor, right? And here we are, 15 years later.
15 years.
And still waiting for the real pastor to show up. But somewhere around year 5, year 6, I'm trying to be a pastor, right? And I'm failing at it miserably. I'm miserable on the inside because I'm trying to be who I think people expect me to be, or even worse, what I expect of myself to be inside of that context. And really beat myself up. And I had a conversation with this, one of my coaches. And I was telling him, man, I just feel like a lousy pastor. I feel like, because I had in my mind certain pastoral ministry where it was, you sit down and you counsel people and you talk about your problems. And like, that's not me. Like, I'm not the guy that you want to sit down and, cause I'm like, just stop smoking crack and your life will get better.
Yeah.
Like, next, let's go. Come on, let's get to work.
The opposite of the book, right?
Yeah. So, but he said something to me that changed the way I looked at my entire life. He said, Luke, it's like, yeah, you're probably not the guy for the counseling, but I know this about you. You're the guy that leaves the 99 for the one. And I was like, yeah, I am that guy. I'm actually really good at that. And so I just started leaning into that. And
that identity you're saying.
Yeah, and that's kind of who we are even as a church, of just like, yeah, to reach people far from Christ. And we tell people, like, if the choice is between coming to church on Sunday or going to play golf with that dude that doesn't know Jesus, and that's the only time you're going to get to talk to him about Jesus, go play golf. Do whatever it is, to bring people far from Christ into relationship with him. And so I think we've just kind of leaned more and more into that, and it's created a culture of hey, we're all in this same boat. And so you got somebody that's just came out of the Recovery Center program, and he's at a table with the guy who was a CEO of a Fortune 500 company. And he's also at the table with a guy that's just starting his business. And you're at the so all of these, but there's very much a sense of we were all the one. We were all the one. And it just creates a special kind of environment in which that's the norm.
Yeah, and that's hard work, but it's meaningful.
It's meaningful.
Yeah, and when there's like a certain obligation sometimes that I feel when I see people that I know are wrestling with things.
Yeah.
And then I'm always capped by what I feel like my time capacity is.
Yeah.
I struggle with that. It sounds like you probably trickle into wrestling with that a little bit too.
Yeah, I mean, you said it earlier too. The thing is the reality that he's the one that's doing the work, and so I'm not Jesus. While I'm not your counselor, we've got people that are.
Yeah.
And so, like, you may think you want to talk to me about this issue. Trust me, you don't. You want to talk to this person.
Yeah.
And so I'm just trying to connect you to the place that you can get what you need at that time in that moment. Yeah, because we're a body. We're working together.
And you do see that you exemplify this, and this might be one of the greatest answers that we flush out today in this conversation for, the recovery in our community and what the church's obligation to that is, the warm handoff aspect.
Yeah.
How many people would you run into in your congregation and you're like, hey, I see you're wrestling with drug, alcohol addiction. You're really struggling with it. You've tried to put the plug in the jug 10 times. You haven't been successful.
Yeah.
You're finally at that breaking point where it looks like you're ready to make a pivot in life. I don't know much about it right now in context, but I know these dudes down the street. They're called Christian Recovery Centers.
Yeah.
Is that where you find the effectiveness come from?
Yeah, because we're a body.
Yeah.
We're a body. And my hand does something different than my foot.
Yeah.
I don't want my hand to do what my foot does.
We'll be the foot. You could be the hand. It's okay. Yeah, there you go.
And recognizing that, and that's probably our biggest constraint is the lack of unity in the body of Christ.
Yeah, cooperation.
Cooperation.
Yeah, that's good.
That my church isn't for everybody. Like, you actually might need to go over there.
Yeah.
And you might need to be over here. And they're doing something really well over here. And recognizing that we're a body and we're working together. I mean, for years, we didn't have the capacity for a youth group because we didn't have the right leaders. We spent probably 10 years sending our youth to other churches because they had great youth groups.
Yeah.
Because, we don't want, if we can't do this well, who's doing it well?
Wow.
And learning that. And I think the more we have, that's John 17. Lord, may they be one, just as you and I are one, because there's this reality that as one, we start working together. Oh, man, there ain't nothing that we can't do. Like, oh, man, you need to go talk to Josh. You need to go talk to these folks over here. You need to go talk to Pastor Michael. And all of a sudden, it's this, man, it's just this beautiful thing.
Cross-pollination. Man.
Yeah. And that's the way it's supposed to be.
It is supposed to be that way. And you're right. Sometimes it turns more into a competition that somehow, and it's a scarcity mindset because it's usually around this resource allocation thing. We think somehow resources will dry up for us because there's not enough to spread around.
Yeah.
When in the meantime, we preach the gospel of a God who owns the cattle on 1,000 hills.
Right.
I mean, that's
true,
though, right?
So that just reminded me of this story.
All right.
There's this, you got a lot of stories here. You can cut out any stories you want. This year, as we're recording this podcast, the bears are really fat. Bears are super fat. And scientists have found, why are these bears so fat this year?
So wait, they're really fat.
They're really fat, big, fat,
in
chunky.
In 2025, it's a scientific fact.
Scientific fact.
Let's get a fact check.
Yeah.
Hey,
fact check this, 2025.
The bears are fat.
Bears are fat.
All right.
And the reason why they're fat, because there's an abundance of salmon. So there's this abundance of, and this is done in Alaska and some of these northern places. There's this abundance of salmon. And so these bears are just eating up all the salmon because they're getting ready to go into hibernation. Now, here's where it gets interesting. It's interesting because in most years, when bears are fishing in these rivers, there's kind of hot spots, right? These are where the fish are. And so you have bears that are kind of territorial. And so bears will fight other bears to get the prime spot on the river.
Yeah.
But this year, because there's so much salmon, bears that usually would be fighting together are actually playing together. They're playing together because why? Because there's enough salmon for everybody.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the church.
It is.
The harvest is plentiful.
Yep.
There's thousands and thousands of people that don't know Jesus. Yep. Ain't nobody trying to steal nobody from your church. If we work this thing together, the harvest is plentiful, and we could actually move from fighting each other to playing together.
Wow.
I just kind of think it's a season for we need some fat bears.
Some fat bears.
Some fat bears.
But, so what the comment though brings me to what would it take for the church to create that harmony?
It takes the kingdom mindset.
Yeah.
It takes realization. We said less of the flesh, less of the eyes, pride of life.
Yeah.
It takes us laying down our power. It takes us laying down our way of doing things, and coming along and being served. I think it's Andy Stanley who may have said, what do you do when you're the most powerful person in the room? Well, you use your power to serve others. And that's what Jesus did, right?
Yep.
The most powerful person in the room, and he got down and he washed his disciples' feet.
others.
And what you saw me do, this is what I'm asking you to do.
Wow.
And so I'm not trying to come in here and teach Josh how to do this. I'm coming in here and saying, how can we best serve you?
Wow.
How can we partner with you? You know some things that we don't know. That how can you help teach and train and equip? And then vice versa. There's some things that we're probably knocking it out of the park with that we could help some of your guys with as well. And that's the beauty of it. But it takes humility. It takes taking what you think you know, and I must decrease so that he must increase.
Yeah, that's such a good response, man. I think that stepping into this thing, that one of the ways that we have been able to create like a good collaboration together is we're really counting on you guys on the back end when we funnel these folks who now have started the road, right? They're nowhere close to where they need to be because our time with them is like that much. But you're like, hey, send them over here. And you know what you told me one time that really resonated? You're like, we want their whole families here. You're like, we want to minister to the family. We had talked about that, personally, that you see, hey, we want their families here. We want to be able to create this type of ministry for the entire family. Churches, if you were to say to the pastors, I'm wrapping up, okay? Hey, the most meaningful effects that it's come from you seeing these roles that you described today and partnering with the active recovery community. What do you see the most meaningful effects take place since your work with the active recovery community?
The most meaningful effects. The first thing that comes to mind is the reality that there is I say young man, he's, I guess, in his 30s. His name is Daniel, and he leads myself and thousands of people into the presence of God every week. And he is a graduate of the Recovery Center. He was behind the Citgo.
He was smoking crack.
He was
behind
smoking
the
crack behind the Citgo, and now he leads our congregation in worship into the presence of God. And he has a heart for Jesus. We were actually just joking around the other day. Acts chapter 4 or chapter 13, I can't remember. But there's a moment where they're standing before the chapter, it's 4 or 13. They said, we're looking at these men, and we can see that they were untrained men, but they are men who had been with Jesus. And so I love getting around Daniel, and Nick is also a graduate of the Recovery Center. These are men that have been with Jesus. And so it's not just having all of the degrees on the wall, and there's nothing wrong with that. I've got degrees on the wall. But what makes the big difference is like their life has been completely, 180'd, radically transformed, and their eyes are still on Jesus, and it's still a long obedience in the same direction, and they're still going through stuff. But the fight that they're fighting now is different from the fight that they fought a decade ago. And that's the power of the gospel.
Yeah, it is.
That's the power of a changed life.
I was going to say,
And
they found their footing in the gospel.
Yeah,
they did.
yeah.
We love your church. We love our partnership. Really love the work that we get to do inside this. We're making it a better place together. And I love your heart, man, for all of the work that you do. Tell the folks before we get off here about your church, where they can find you, what time your services are if they like to come.
mycoastalchurch.com, Sunday mornings, 9 o'clock, 10:45. Everybody's welcome. Come as you are. Josh mentioned, there's coffee and all of that good stuff. But we are very clear. It is a come and call. Don't come and stay as you were. It's a call to come and die and be changed by the power of the Word, and let worship just transform you and find yourself in who He is and what He's done. And so, man, we're excited to be a part of what God's doing right here in Brunswick County. That space in between Myrtle Beach and Wilmington.
You'll find us on
Shallotte.
the map. Rapidly growing.
Growing.
Well, it's been good. I thank you for participating today in the conversation. Look, today, so you get to sign off today. They're experts in what the church's responsibility is for recovery and their engagement with it inside of their communities. Pastor Lucas Grainger today, folks. We appreciate you tuning in. Behind the Citgo. We'll see you next time.